Hi everyone, it's John, and in today's active self-protection extra lesson, I want to talk about the fact that all hybrid holsters are awful. All of them are awful, and I do not recommend a hybrid holster to anyone in any capacity at any time. And I know that that's going to be offensive to some, and some people are going to say, my hybrid holster works great. I don't think it does. I think it does you a disservice as a carrier, and today I'm going to show you why. This is the example that I have for us to look at. It is a Galco King Tuck inside the waistband hybrid holster. But don't pick on Galco. I think Galco makes some fine holsters. I just hate all hybrid holsters, and this is a good example of what one looks like and why it's bad. I see the same thing from Alien Gear. I see the same thing from Crossbreed. I just think that hybrid holsters are bad, and I don't recommend them. Why? Well, first of all, I just want you to see this. It's floppy. See the floppies? It's floppy. Now, I want you to notice this is an airsoft gun. This isn't a real gun here. It's an airsoft tool that I use all the time, hence the orange tip. Okay. But I don't actually own a Glock 19 right now. Oh, I'll take the walk of shame in a while. But I want you to see a couple things. First of all, floppy. Okay, I wore this holster. This is not me talking from inexperience. I've actually worn this holster. I wore it for, I'm ashamed to say, about 2 years. So this is what 2 years of use will get you out of this holster. I think a holster should last a lot longer than that, first of all. But I'm going to show you what a good one does in a minute. Secondly, because it does get floppy. So because I mean, this is quality leather, and Galco uses quality leather. So it's not a problem of the leather, but leather over time softens and weakens, and that creates a second problem. Now, all the hybrid holsters that I know, you see this right here? See that space? That's a space where crap can get inside of the trigger guard. You want that trigger guard completely covered. Alien Gear does the same thing. Man, they almost all do. And if I go to the back side, I want you to notice this here. I can very quickly and very easily, crap can get inside there. I can actually get inside the trigger guard all the way to the trigger and pull the trigger without pulling the gun out of the holster one iota. Now you're like, John, it's up against your body. How likely is that? Man, I do not want there to be any way to get inside my holster. And this you can. Next thing that I want us to pay attention to on this is the floppy part. Now, okay, so you see how this holster kind of works? It molds up against your body. Now, this one is actually designed okay because the sweat guard here only goes over the slide. So it leaves your ability to get a full firing grip on the gun. Many hybrid holsters go up and over and around where you cannot get your thumb. You can't jam your thumb down in it. I'd have to go this way to show that accurately. So if you had this entire sweat shield here, you could not jam your thumb down to get a full firing grip on the gun. You would have to instead do the thumb over grip, which I see people do in hybrid holsters all the time. This is not an effective or appropriate way to draw a firearm. You must have a full firing grip. Can I say it again? A full firing grip. If you cannot get a full firing grip on the gun to withdraw the gun from the holster, you do not have an adequate holster. Most hybrids are built over the top. I can't tell you the number of times that sitting on a range before we start class that I take a student's holster and I cut the stinking sweat shield down off of their hybrid holster. We do it all the time. Get rid of that. At the very least, cut that down. This one's cut appropriately. That's not something that we did. You can actually see they actually did that. That's okay. Next thing that I want you to hear is notice when I put this gun in. Notice what it does. Nothing. It just hits the end of it, and that's all it does. It should not do that. There's no retention in this whatsoever. This is just a bucket that you poured the gun into, and I see that again and again. It can't have more than that, and the reason it can't is as you look in here, the other side of this, let's see if I can get you to see it, the other side is leather, and so it doesn't hold its shape. So it just comes in and out as a heart's desire. This, on the other hand, is a Safariland ALS, different holster outside the waistband. I get it. But my point is, for this same Glock, listen, hear the click? The click meant it stays in there. That's a requirement of a holster. You think, oh, but that's only for outside the waistband. Nope, not just for the waistband. My VP9 carry gun, empty, empty. You can see that. Okay, gonna put it in the holster here. That was built for me by Gabe from the Knowledge Skills Gear Armory. This is my everyday holster. Listen, hear that click? That's a positive click. This gun is not coming out of this bucket. It is not coming out until I want it to come out, till I pull on it physically. That's important. That's an important bit. Second VP9, this is my training gun, okay? Watch this. This is a medium sweat shield outside the waistband holster. I honestly forget who made me this. Listen though, hear the click? This gun is not coming out of this until such time as you pull it. It's not coming out of the bucket. You gotta have that on a holster. Hybrid holsters don't do that. By definition, they don't do that because of the leather that's on one side of the holster. Next thing that sucks, and I see these on hybrids all the time, is we see stress points. Do you see this? I want to show you this right here. Okay, can you see that break in the Kydex? What happened there was I took this to an entangled gunfighting class. I took this to a class where we actually had to draw and use it, and somebody was trying to get the gun. And guess what? That Kydex, because it's a stress point there, that 90 degrees, it cracked there, and it happens to every hybrid holster that I've seen. They crack. They're made out of thin Kydex. They're made out of very thin material, and so they crack. But that doesn't happen with all Kydex builds. Next thing I hate clips. I hate these little clippy things. Now, of course, can you work around this? Yes, I am a huge fan of soft loops. I want positive engagement with my belt, but what I see here all the time is you see this little guy here. Now, you might have better clips than this, but these get bent, they get bought out, they get moved out, and this is not an effective way. You can't get it to ride in the right height with the kind of clip that would be very helpful. My next problem is to get the gun in the holster with these hybrid designs. So I put this guy on, and what you see here, I have this at 9 o'clock. That's what's typical for me. And I have a tactical shelf here, like many of us do. And if you are super skinny, this doesn't happen as much. But for those of us who have, shall we say, a little fluffiness to us, or have put too many pounds on, and listen, I know you're going to be some fat shamers here. We're going to be like, oh, you're fat and you should lose some weight. Totally agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not denying that fact. But where we are, we still have the right to defend ourselves, still have the right to carry a gun. But what happens is you see this little flap, it starts folding over my holster. And that happens, again, because from where my waist is to kind of sink this belt and get it correct, cinch it down right, I get this little kind of tactical muffin top here, and that folds this over. And so what I see people do, and I see them do it all the time. I see it on the range all the time. They go pew, pew, pew. They're doing their pew, pew. They're making their runs, and then they do this. I got to get this gun in the holster. And so I use the muzzle to move that flap out of the way and put it in. What did I just do? I just pointed the gun at myself. Now, that one can be ameliorated. I did a whole video on the tap method of holstering your firearm. So you go bang, 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 you do your thing. Now, again, if you use that thumb pectoral index, pull this around, tap the outside of the holster, and use the side of the slide, you can keep from muzzling yourself. But this design in particular, because of the way that it's set, it tends to kind of do that, and it just makes people push that aside. Back to my carry VP9, still an empty gun. So again, if I have instead a Kydex holster, a full Kydex build, this is my regular appendix carry, but it works just as well as strong side. Has a high sweat shield, but notice that fights the tactical muffin top here, keeps that pushed in and keeps the holster where it belongs. I still completely recommend using that thumb pectoral index, tapping the outside of the holster, but the holster itself does not lend itself to having to fish to get itself in there. Huge advantage of Kydex. Now, in terms of the stiffness, somebody might say, but I don't have leather, John, I have synthetic material. Even worse, the synthetic material bends more, wears faster, creates more problems even than the quality leathers that people like Galco use. They don't make things better, they make things worse. Now I know somebody is going to say, hey John, what I have now is there's my fancy dancy holster maker has made this Kydex hybrid holster. It's their cool guy hybrid holster, but it's this modular thing that it's like having a whole Kydex holster that is then attached to this soft backing so that it's more comfortable for me. Well, let's think about that for a minute. This is what we're asking here. So already we have a gun, it's this thick, right? So this is the thickness that we have. Now, if I took the thickness of even without the the wedge on it, if you took the thickness, now I've made it even thicker just with this. That's just taking this full Kydex holster and putting it up next to the hybrid one so you can see it's much taller. Now I add the mounting system and I have a holster that's sticking out this far. So now I got to have a belt that's sticking way the heck out there in order to accommodate this multiple attachment strap doohickey, when the reality is I should just use a better holster. I should use a dedicated Kydex inside the waistband holster. So this particular one is made for me by Gabe at the Knowledge Skills Gear Armory. There are some incredible quality Kydex benders out there, man. They're making some really high quality ones. My friend John from Filster makes great holsters. Spencer Keepers from Keeper Concealment, Dark Star Gear, man. There's a whole bunch of great ones out there, and I've just scratched the surface. So go get yourself a quality Kydex, all Kydex holster. Again, even with the wedge on it for my appendix carry holster, this guy here is really not any significantly thicker than that hybrid, but it's more comfortable. A quality Kydex holster provides better retention. It has none of the holstering problems. It will last a lot longer and you won't have the wear in it. And it has none of the deficiencies and many of the benefits, all of the benefits actually, of a hybrid holster. So yes, every hybrid holster is horrible. And I do not recommend hybrid holsters at all. I recommend you get rid of them. I personally have gone full Kydex. The only time I would go leather at this point is if you live in Texas and you have an outside the waistband leather holster for your barbecue gun. If you have a tooled 1911 that is a Les Baer custom and it's a multi-$1,000 gun and you want to put it in a Milt Sparks outside the waistband tooled holster because it's your barbecue gun, then you rock on. Other than that, man, get rid of all the hybrids and get yourself a quality holster. I say that as somebody, I don't manufacture holsters. I ain't trying to make any money from you. I'm trying to help you to use your holster to better carry your firearm, to give you a little bit of retention, of passive retention on the firearm, and to do so in a way that it doesn't break, it doesn't wear, it doesn't have problems, it lasts you forever, and it works. So get rid of your hybrid holster, move to something better like Kydex.